Welcome to the latest edition of the Fourth and Gold NFL podcast. It has been quite a week this week. A lot going on, whether it is contract extensions, our first game of the year officially. I got my first taste of Madden today, and I started off with a shutout. So anyone that wants this work, drop your gamer tag in the comments if you're on PS5. And actually, I ordered a jersey today. I'm not going to say whose. You'll find out soon, Paul. But yeah, I mean, there's just been too much activity this week to skip past it. So we're going to start with this week's news before we get into our team previews for the week. And I'm going to be selfish and I'm going to start in one place. A deal that was made literally the day after last week's podcast. The return of Deebo Samuel to the 49ers. I know that for most of the world, he is not your cup of tea and he is up there in age. But if you look at this deal, it's a $4 million deal rising to $7 million. So we're not talking about Deebo coming in to be the number one receiver or the number two receiver. For that kind of money, you're asking, can you make an impact? Can you bring some level of contribution? Can you be a spark for this team in some moments? That's all we're asking. And what intrigued me most was the incentives. There's 3 million tied to total scrimmage yards, total scrimmage touchdowns, and return yards. So that tells me we're going to see kind of the full package of Deebo. It's not just going to be at receiver. We're going to see him at running back. We're going to see him on jet sweeps. We're going to see him in the screen game. Returns as well. Can he stay healthy? I don't know. I hope he can, because I think biased, you could call me biased. I think he can make a contribution. Like, it's not the offense isn't going to be centered around him, but if he can just provide a few big moments here and there, I think it's a worthy ad. And this locker room love him. Like, there is no bad blood between the 49ers and Deebo when he left. You know, you got Trent Williams and Carl Juszczyk speaking so highly of him. I mean, you had Kittle waiting in the car park for him to arrive. That tells you that this will be an immediate lift for this team. And I love that he's back.
I think that I'm not a fan of the 49ers, but I think you're downplaying it. I think you are being modest about Deebo. Look, with the way the 49ers and injuries goes, he could be your number one by week one. Shit, I hope that doesn't happen, but the way that 49ers receivers go down, look, Kyle Shanahan's he's not at training camp, is he?
In and out.
So Kyle's not fully, this is not a normal off-season for the 49ers, right? Your head coach is not fully in the building. What do you need in that kind of situation? Somebody to come in. The head coach isn't there to teach new guys. And the Shanahan scheme is, like, I imagine, quite difficult to learn for rookies and new guys into the league. So Deebo coming in, as you said, locker room guy. Everybody loves him. He's not going to have to be the guy to lead the offense. Can provide sparks in moments. When you told me, I replied that I love it, and he's going to be involved in goal line and, short spaces. He's tough. Still remember that game against the Eagles where he just dominated. Yeah, I love it. I was speaking about, I wanted him on my team. What's there to lose? You're not paying him a great deal. He's going to come in and work hard, gets on with the guys. Yeah, I think it's a win, massive win for the 49ers.
I hope that he can just stay healthy. That is the asterisk with it, because he's had a few issues here and there. But if he is healthy, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited.
But yeah, the speed, okay, possibly might be an issue, but yeah, so speed, don't think he'd be a natural kick returner. But I mean, he was still productive in moments for the Commanders, so why?
Yeah, and there were some games where he was seeing, I think, like double-digit targets because of, obviously the injuries they had.
Yeah,
So we're not going to be asking that of him. That's where I think like less is more. If you could just get use him on a, I don't know, like not a limited snap count, but in the right moments, you might get something great out of him.
I think he's a great shout as well, prop betting like anytime touchdown in 49ers games because he might possibly be overlooked and hence overpriced.
Yeah. And the thing is, like when his previous tenure ended, there was some talk that he didn't like lining up at running back, and there were certain things he didn't want to do. I think that he's gone to the Commanders and maybe just seen that the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and maybe this offseason having to wait so long to sign with a team, kind of realized like, I need to not I need to just do what I can, and if that means that I have to line up a running back, I mean he's been productive there. So
Yeah,
you know if he can stay healthy, he can be our weapon X.
I would be more positive if I were you. I love this.
Okay, all right. I didn't want to be too biased, so
No,
yeah.
you're not being biased. You're being too modest. This is a win. In a off season which has been challenging for the 49ers,
Yeah.
this is a win. This is a rare shining light.
And the like you said, I mean, just before we move on, DAZN Stribling is learning every day from Mike Evans, Debo Samuel, Christian Kirk. Those are three very different veteran receivers. So he's getting to see it all, which I think can only be good for him.
Yeah. Yeah, and that will help. The veteran leadership of the 49ers locker room will help in this time where your head coach is going through some stuff.
Absolutely. So a void opened up for the Commanders, and we spoke about it last week. I said, I'm not really scared of this offense, really, in parts. They need a wide receiver too. And that is exactly what they went out and got in the last few days. Stephon Diggs, I don't have the numbers in front of me. It's a 1-year deal. I assume around the 10 million mark. I love this. I love this for them. This is like the perfect complement to Terry McLaurin. You've got your home run hitter, and now you've got your underneath guy who can, he can still separate. This isn't like an explosive receiver, but he can get open, and that is a perfect marriage, I think.
Yeah, this is absolutely perfect. I think to Diggs Diggs has always been productive, been, a bit of a character, shall we say, but the allegations were dropped when he left the Patriots. And at the time, I remember saying to you, like, I think the Patriots are making a mistake, letting him go. But they did. They've moved on. And yeah, for the Commanders, I think this makes them very interesting now. Very interesting because I was more positive, I think, than you on the Commanders last week. And that was on the basis of them getting a number two. And I remember saying, like, they'll get a number two. Like, because they were in the market for number two receivers, just they missed out. And now they've got Diggs. And yeah, like you said, Diggs can do everything. And that's going to help McLaurin. Hence, that's going to help Jaden Daniels. And this offense now is just totally different. But it is Jaden Daniels. Who is he? Is he going to earn that second contract? Because this is contract year. This is year 3, eligible for a contract after this year. And yeah, if he can stay on the field, then the Commanders is like, whoa, okay, the Commanders now. And then that division is suddenly like, okay, you expect the Giants to be better, new head coach, new culture, new staff. Everyone's positive in New York. Obviously, I mean, it's August, but they're positive and they've got some reason to be positive. Cowboys now, like, okay, we've signed some guys on defense. The Eagles, well, the running game can't be that bad again. And the Commanders have Jaden Daniels back. And you're like, whoa, this division from suddenly being like, it's going to suck. Like, okay, you can make a case for all 4 teams. So, yeah, this division suddenly is like, whoa, okay, I'll watch some NFC East games.
Yeah, especially at the start of the year when everyone's healthy, it's going to be interesting for sure.
I think the schedule's kind of, from what I remember, the schedule's a little bit front loaded. Don't they have the Commanders? Don't they have when we did the win last? I think they've got like back to back.
Eagles, Cowboys, I think.
Right, yeah, and Cowboys, Giants, Cowboys is very early in the season as well.
I think it's week 1.
Right,
Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, so here we go. We're going to find out early about these guys.
Yeah, and now when you look at, Diggs is going to be quote unquote the number 2. It suddenly makes number 3 look more interesting because you've got De'Ami Brown, who's returned, who did well in the rookie year for Jaden Daniels. You got Luke McCaffrey, who, hasn't, he had a very small role until the injuries, and then he's come into it a bit. And they've also drafted the receiver, I think, is it Williams in round 3? So now you've got a nice fight for that 3rd receiver spot.
Don't forget the tight end they took from the Titans. He can play.
Yeah.
He's a big guy, and you've got all these speedy guys on the outside, opens up the tight end in the middle.
And Rashad White will be out of the passing game as well from running back. So
yeah, he was always catching balls for the Bucs out of the backfield, and Jaden Daniels just opens up everything. Running game, like space in the middle of the field, just because Jaden Daniels like dual threat. So, yeah, the Commanders are suddenly like, okay, provided you can actually run on defense, you're not completely lacking in team speed like they were, then okay, now we're talking.
Yeah, and they certainly got younger on the front 7, so that is an exciting team.
Yeah.
The last receiver deal this week that I wanted to cover, Zay Flowers. This one did surprise me a little bit. So 140 million 4-year extension. In the Lamar Jackson era, I mean, he has been their best receiver. You'll probably remember that I was quite high on Flowers coming out of college. I'm on the fence, though, with the deal because it's coming after a year where I feel he had struggles, particularly with ball security. And, that's the only reason. This could turn out to be a great deal because, he is a deep threat. Lamar has great chemistry with him already. But I'm just like, wow, you're now being paid like Justin Jefferson. Are you that type of receiver where your opposition is fully game planning for you or having to double you or, it's affecting the way that they run their defense? That's the only slight pushback I have on the deal.
I think he's benefited from the fact that the Ravens have had lots of trouble in drafting wide receiver.
Yeah.
So when they found a wide receiver, oh, damn, you've got to pay him when he's eligible. And it's his time. I mean, honestly, it doesn't look great in the week where we had another high-profile extension come through when you're looking at value for money. But he's a wide receiver. That's the NFL. And he's been good. He has been good. I like Zay Flowers. But yeah, the Ravens don't do well at wide receiver. So what are they going to do? Like if they trade away Zay Flowers and they can't draft receiver,
Yeah.
so we're gonna chance our arm at drafting. It might be 10 years before they find another receiver like Zay Flowers because they just don't. It just doesn't work out for some whatever reason in Baltimore.
Yeah, I'm laughing because I'm thinking of like my guy Rashad Bateman, who his over under every week is like 24 and a half, and he pretty much gets one reception per game, and he generally hits it. But I'm like, yeah, we're gonna go from Zay, we're gonna trade Zay, and then we're gonna have our one catch guy.
Yeah, so I think Zay Flowers, I think he had a lot of leverage in the
Yeah,
negotiation.
and the thing is, it's like like I said, I'm a Zay Flowers fan.
Mm.
It's just like clean up the fumble or the ball security and stay healthy. And this could be a great deal for them. Like he's productive, and like I said, he is an explosive receiver for them. That Lamar can hit him, for 50, 60-yard plays. So yeah,
It's the timing of it because all these guys, the Jeffersons and Chases, they'll get redone and then they'll surpass Zay Flowers. It's just the time. I mean, he is the Daniel Jones of the wide receiver market at the moment. He was next. So, and everyone's going crazy for wide receivers.
that is a great point though that you just made, because the players we're going to talk about now. Do you remember when Devon Achan was done for 15 million? That now looks like a great deal. So the same thing could happen with the Flowers deal, where, like you said, the very premier receivers get redone, and suddenly there's a sizable gap where you say, okay, I mean, actually, that looks pretty good now. But as we move on, the best running backs in the game got paid. Bijan Robinson started it off 75 million, well, up to 75 million. I think it was a 60, somewhere in the region of 67 million, which put him at 22.25 million per year.
Mm-hmm.
The Falcons simply had to do this deal. This is the centerpiece of your offense. And when you've got Tua and Penix at quarterback, you want your running game to carry the offense, really, because it's going to be hard. Like if they can't run the ball, or if they couldn't run the ball, they're not going to be successful. Having Bijan tied up and now he can let loose again is perfect for them. It gives them I want to say, a fighting chance.
Yeah, this is a no-brainer. If they have the money, then just do it. Yeah, I think they've done. I think they've actually done well because
Yeah.
yeah, we just finished talking about receiver and running back. I mean, Bijan Robinson, how many balls did he catch last year? 70, 80? It's going to be between. It's going to be around that number.
Yeah.
Like, as dangerous in the passing game as he is on the ground. Like dual threat. Yeah, he is your main weapon, and you're paying two at nothing. Well, the Dolphins are paying two up, and Penix is still on a rookie deal. So, and Stefanski's come over, and what does Stefanski want to do? Run the damn ball. You got the best in the game, or it's a conversation anyway. One of the best in the game for sure. Pay the guy. He's up. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Trade? Start again? No. You drafted him. I think it was 7 overall. You won. You hit the lottery. You found a true superstar out of college. When he's up, pay him.
It's definitely a curious like conversation now with receiver and running back pay scales, because you could almost get two Bijans for the price of one JSN.
Yeah, it is.
And
It's
how
on.
you construct your team now is like interesting, because if you offered me, you can have JSN at 42 and a half, or you can have Bijan at 22.25.
Yeah,
I know it's a passing league, but I'm probably going to go with with Bijan because it's cheaper, and you're getting you're still getting one of the best at that position.
Yeah, it's all cyclical, isn't it? It was quarterbacks, and now when quarterbacks are being extended now, they're not necessarily the highest paid. Like I did, get at what was the kind of time? Was it Tua, Purdy
Trevor Lawrence.
period? Yeah, Lawrence, where every guy that was getting renewed, you're like, what? This guy's getting more than Mahomes?
Like a lot more.
What the hell are we doing? And it seems to be now at wide receiver. Not obviously not every guy, but guys that are in the top few. So Zay Flowers is now. Where's Zay Flowers rank?
So you've got JSN, Jamar Chase, maybe Drake London is slightly like a hair above. Jefferson, Zay Flowers. I'm probably missing some guys, but I'd say he's at least in the top 8.
Puka's still due, isn't it? It still hasn't been done.
Yep.
So, yeah, wide receivers are the flavor of the NFL at the moment. Wide receiver, pass rusher.
Yep. So really, I think as a knock-on effect of the Bijan deal, the dominoes started to fall. So Jonathan Taylor got a 2-year extension, 44 million. So he falls just under Bijan's average per year in new money.
Yep.
Again, like he's the driving force of that offense. I mean, if you look at the games last year, when Jonathan Taylor went off, they won. When he didn't go off, they lost. Simple as that, like a very simple formula. So no brainer with this one. And then of course, the guy that had to wait the longest, but I'm glad it got done yesterday, is Jahmyr Gibbs. So he surpassed Bijan. Again, I think it was around like up to 75 or 76 million, but it's just the classic, isn't it? The deal is 67 and a half. It puts him at 22 and a half. So just a bit above Bijan. That's the way it works. One of them was going to get done first, and then the second guy was always going to get just that 1% above. But again, for me, I know that he has been he had his Sonic and Knuckles era, right? With Big Dave Montgomery. But he was, in that sharing of touches, he was putting up nearly 2,000 yards. So I have no doubt that this guy is about to explode.
Yeah. If you recall, when the Lions had 2 first-round draft picks that season, I think they were close to a playoff team, or they had improved, but they still had 2 first-round picks. They drafted Jack Campbell, MLB, and Jahmyr Gibbs, and people really questioned the draft pick, saying, "What the hell are you doing drafting a running back? Like you're not going to win a championship that way. You take like lineman, O-line, D-line." And yeah, I think they might have, I mean, look this up. I think they might have even traded up slightly to take Gibbs.
Mm.
But Gibbs was, the so-called draft experts were instantly not rating the pick and saying, "Oh, it's too high for Gibbs," and yeah, just that has not aged well, and he's a perfect fit for like that stadium, that team, speed, that play caller. Yeah, he did like elevate in the last couple of years, taking over from David Montgomery, who I love. And yeah, he was, I think, given an education by Montgomery as well, the sharing the load. And now Gibbs does everything. And he is a true threat every single time he touches the ball. in the open field. He is home run ability, like on every single play. Plays in a dome, doesn't seem to get hurt, breakaway speed, tough. Yeah. I mean, you won the lottery, so pay him. And those two have kind of him and Bijan have now separated, I think, from the rest of the NFL. The guys who still are superstars, your CMCs and Saquons and King Henrys are still superstars, but they're just, these younger guys are now okay, like we can do everything and our speed is a difference maker as well. We can be involved on every single play. We can be involved passing game, run game, screen game, everything. Everything. They're every down backs and so you pay them. Yeah, it's just a win. It's just a win. Like draft Gibbs or Bijan in fantasy if you have a pick, if you're lucky enough to have a pick inside the top two. Don't care if it's PPR, like just take those guys.
1000% agree. I mean, yeah, I think it, and it's funny because Gibbs got off to a slow start with the Lions, so those draft experts probably felt a bit of validation from, oh, you know, he's not getting opportunities because they don't feel he's ready, and then yeah, it really turned.
Yeah, just a bit.
The last deal, while we were covering deals, I thought we may as well cover this one. Jalen Carter got extended 152 million 4-year extension. This is someone who had quite a significant incident before the draft
Yeah.
with a street racing incident, and I feel like that has carried. He's had to carry that with him because really and truly, when you look at the years that he's spent in the NFL, he's been nothing short of top tier, like full production. Definitely earned his money. I know he had the spitting incident with Dak. That's one blemish, but nothing that I really, I know it's not nice, it's not ideal, but that's not going to stop me from extending this guy. This guy's the real deal, and I'm glad that the Eagles have done this. Well, actually, selfishly, I wish they had traded him. But when I think about him and the way that people still kind of talk about character issues, I'm like, no, sorry. He's proven himself both on the field and the way he has stayed out of trouble. This is a home run.
I think the Eagles have done quite well in this deal because that he's being paid as, and yeah, he does line up as a defensive tackle, but he has production almost rivaling some pass rushers.
Yeah.
And if he was a pass rusher, then you're gonna have to pay him an extra 10 mil per year, but you're paying him as a defensive tackle, and I think they've done. It's the Eagles. It's Howie Roseman. They do well. Yeah, this is what was the extension?
So it's 152 over 4 years. So we're looking at what, 38 per year?
Mm.
But you think about it, like you said, top pass rusher is Micah Parsons at 46.
Yeah.
So, I would happily give that money to Jalen Carter. When you look at the Eagles and how they are quite plug and play, if they don't want to pay over the odds for certain players, they'll just go out and either sign someone in free agency or draft again. But this guy is the center of your front seven. Like they will be able to do that around him.
Yeah. Take out obviously Jalen Hurts, who kind of divides opinion, but when the Eagles extend a player, like that player's really, really good. If, like you said, they will say goodbye to a guy.
Yeah.
They will just say, no, we can, we trust ourselves, draft, free agency. We'll go get another guy to replace you. So yeah, Nakobe Dean's gone. Milton Williams gone. But they go, right, okay, Jalen Carter, If they thought he was replaceable, they would cheat.
Yeah.
It's the Eagles. So yeah, when the Eagles pay money, don't jump on and say Jalen Hurts. Like that's quarterback. That's different. When the Eagles pay money, usually it works out pretty well.
Yeah.
Reason anyway.
I mean, name a bad deal they've made.
Mm.
They paid Devonta Smith. He's a home run. They paid AJ Brown. He was productive. Okay, we had some, you know, personal issues with players. You can't avoid that. But they just, that there's not one player that I've looked at, even really Hurts. Like Hurts's deal has been team friendly. I know the headline number of like 52 million, if you didn't look into the detail, you'd say that's an overpay. But if you look at the structure of what he's done so far, it's been very team friendly. So every deal that they've made, like by and large, I can't think of one really off the top of my head where I say that was a bad deal. Like maybe Jalen Hurts will turn into that. I don't know, but
yeah, it would be interesting to just go through the Eagles' salary cap and go, okay, but yeah, the guys, they win a Super Bowl or they're challenging, they're right there, and then they say goodbye to guys. They're like the Patriots were, and then when I was growing up, like the Steelers with outside linebackers, just okay, see you, bye. We'll get another one. Like we can draft you guys. We've done it for years.
no disrespect either. Like Bud Dupree, we loved you, but you went off and you didn't hit the heights that you were at the Steelers. So
yeah, and was Bud Dupree? I don't want to back. He was okay on the Titans, but come on, like he would never the guy.
yeah,
Yeah. If certain teams say goodbye to a position or just an area of the field, like other teams kind of beware.
fair. That rounds up really the contract extensions. Just one last thing I want to add before we move to the teams that we're going to preview today. Aaron Donald had an official workout with the Rams. That, I think, is the indication he is coming back. It's just a matter of time. So my worst nightmare of, NFC West teams getting better. Well, the thing is, I know he's been out the game for 2 years. He's 35. But Florio on PFT made quite an interesting point, I thought. When he comes back, it may like he's obviously not in his prime anymore, but he was almost suggesting like he could actually look more productive because he's not really going to be walking into a situation where he's getting like triple teamed. You're going to have to deal with Myles Garrett. I mean, by all means, if you double or triple team Aaron Donald, good night Vienna, because Myles Garrett's going to be one-on-one and feasting. But it feels like, given the choice, who are you going to double? You're probably going to have to go with Myles Garrett being younger, I think.
So the Rams took, we'll discuss the Chiefs shortly, but the Rams went and got 2 first-round cornerbacks from the Chiefs. And McDuffie, at least, you could say, like smothering shutdown corner.
Yeah.
And they've got Poona Ford and Myles Garrett, and they've still got Braden Fisk. And now you're going to add Aaron Donald to that. So, yeah. Good luck. Like, who do you cover? Who do you worry about on the Rams defense on the front? So the corners are going to shut you down from the outside, and then from the inside, where are you going to go? These guys are good at stopping the run too. So run D, pass D. Yeah, it's almost just unthinkable. I mean, the Rams, the talent that they have, but they've still got to go and win the games. and everyone's got to make it to the Super Bowl. And with the Rams, we discussed it, but the Rams were a couple of plays away. Like special teams count for a lot in moments. So, and they're still in the division with your 49ers and the Seahawks. So their schedule's not a joke as well. And they will have a target on their back because they're the Rams and yeah, they're the super team. So teams will be motivated to go and play them, but the talent is just ridiculous on the Rams. But Florio does make a good point. Like,
Yeah.
back in the day, yeah. Yeah. I heard Donald say that he used to hate playing the Eagles because of Jason Kelsey,
Mm.
because of how tough he was and how he'd always like help out his guard. And so hence the double team. And the Eagles obviously always had a good O line.
Yeah.
But now I don't think you can double him.
No.
But yeah, yeah. They still own his rights, so I guess he's going to come back on a reduced deal, shall we say? Not like market value, not Jalen Carter money, but also probably not veteran minimum money.
Yeah. Like I don't think that he's from what I've been listening to, I don't think it's not a money move. Like he's making other money moves in the media and entertainment industry. This
He's
is purely like,
he wants a ring, baby.
yeah, why not? It's interesting though, because it's like if they didn't get Miles Garrett, this wouldn't be happening. This is like a genuine knock-on effect. Like Miles Garrett's there. That would be a ridiculous tandem.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think that's disrespectful to Jared Verse. Like Jared Verse is he's not Miles Garrett, but I think the Rams. I agree, Garrett does change things, but the Rams were still very much a Super Bowl contender with Jared.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I think that what I'm saying is more like, what was the spark that prompted Aaron Donald to even contemplate this? I think it was this move, and it's almost like I'm pretty sure Miles Garrett started talking about it, and it's kind of fermented from there. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely not a slight on Verse. Like it's certainly not. Well, oh now Miles Garrett such an upgrade. Like it's an upgrade, but it's not like a wow. Like we've just completely transformed our edge. Like Verse is a good player.
you could say, obviously he's still connected with the guys in the locker room, and Miles Garrett, from what you're suggesting, has reached out to him personally to come back. But you could say that the difference for the Rams, at least I think, yeah, Miles Garrett makes a huge difference. Obviously, he's Miles Garrett, but the cornerbacks make a huge difference because
Yeah,
the Rams last year, with the kind of up and down play in the secondary, now you go and add two more cornerbacks to that. Okay.
who can play man, and that's where that was their Achilles heel. Seattle kind of figured them out, having played them twice. Some of these touchdowns that Darnold was throwing were wide open. Like JSN wide open. Why is that? Because they didn't feel confident enough to man him up. But
Yep.
then they played zone, and you play the same team enough, you're going to be familiar with their concepts. So
You
that's going to be very different this year.
you have to respect the aggression of the Rams, though. Okay,
Yeah.
what's our weakness? Right. Who's the best at that? Okay, who's the best who is also we could possibly get who's potentially available? Right, go get that guy. And more often than not, they do. They just go and target a position. Jared Goff took him to a Super Bowl, but wasn't McVay's guy. Okay, let's upgrade the position. Like, let's go and get Stafford and pay draft capital
Yeah.
for Stafford over Goff. And yeah, you can say the trade worked for both teams. So just how aggressive the Rams are, just go, right, like we're not just going to sit and wait.
All credit to McVay and Les Snead because, like, Les Snead was talking about, I think it was the Myles Garrett deal that he'd been working on that for months.
Hmm.
So they're persistent in their chase, and as you said, you have to respect their aggressiveness because when they're at lean times, they know we're not we're not contenders right now. We'll give it our best, but we're not gonna put the chips in the middle. When they feel like they are ready, they do it. And I mean, just look at the results now. This team is this team is going to be tough to beat, I think.
Yeah, they've kind of flipped the theory of the NFL. Like you draft your guys, draft, develop, re-sign your guys. Like they, a lot of their players are not acquired through the draft.
Yeah.
And then guys, even they do draft, they trade away. It's just, yeah, it's just interesting how theories and team building kind of evolves in the NFL. And the Rams are different, but yeah, they're Aaron Donald. He's coming back. Like it's done. It's done.
Yeah, I just don't see any other way. So that is the news in this last week. Very busy. It feels like we're back now. But we will continue our team previews. Got four very interesting teams today. Let's start off with the Kansas City Chiefs. 6-11. Unthinkable that that was their record last year. Third in the AFC West. Mahomes obviously coming back from the significant ACL tear. Eric Bieniemy is back as offensive coordinator. You mentioned it before. They traded Trent McDuffie to the Rams and then lost Watson in free agency as well. So when you look at their notable additions on offense, obviously it's Kenneth Walker. They have added Justin Fields as the backup quarterback. We'll see if he's got a package in this offense.
Yeah.
And then on defense, they had to replenish at corner. They've re-signed L'Jarius Sneed, who had been released from the Titans. And obviously, they took the first corner in the draft, Mansour Delane. Interesting to see what happens with this team. What do you think is their weakness?
Um, I think it's still weapons
Yeah.
because the running game you would expect to massively upgrade with Kenneth Walker, but weapons on the outside, I include Travis Kelce in that, who I know it's easy to kind of get on him because he's like Mr. Taylor Swift, but he has slowed down. He does still show or has shown up in some big games, but in terms of like volume of production, it's slowed down. So even their receivers? Is Rashee Rice even?
Available.
Yeah, I mean,
Didn't he go to prison for 30 days or something like that? Because um, he was caught with like marijuana or something like that, and it breached his bail.
so he'll be suspended again. And who's even their receivers? I mean, Mahomes will still make them relevant. Mahomes will be better, you would expect, than last year. And even when he was healthy last year, Mahomes wasn't like normal service as you would expect Patrick Mahomes. He was a bit up and down,
Mm.
but you got to give the guy some slack. Like this is one questionable year, or every single other year he took them either to the AFC title game or the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl. And it's fine.
With no run game, let's face it. And that's why it kind of flashes me back to the Bills before Joe Brady came in at OC. They had no run game. So it becomes very one dimensional. And that's where I think there could be a big change, at least with Kenneth Walker being there, with Bieniemy being back. You know, you're asking for, I think, Xavier Worthy to step up now. I think he's under pressure because what we've seen over the last couple of years, it started off like, oh, some flashy plays, but it never grew after that. And, he's the guy that you look to and say, can you be more than what you've offered so far? Because this offense needs it.
Yeah. The NFL, the turnaround is crazy. They were, a game away from three-peating.
Yeah.
Back-to-back champs against the Eagles. And then a year later, they're 6-11 and drafting inside the top 10. So it can happen quickly, and it can also happen very quickly if your quarterback gets hurt. Very quickly. So the Chiefs I've heard some guys, some supposed experts talk about the Chiefs and say, yeah, I would expect them to challenge again. I don't know. I think the division's tough. And I think way too much is on Mahomes to come back and he has to be the best quarterback in the NFL, I think, on this roster for them to kind of challenge. If they were in the NFC, and it's funny how the conference things goes, because now I would consider like the NFC to probably have better teams, at least be more top heavy than the AFC. AFC probably has more that you could say, okay, well, they've got a shot. In NFC, it's like, no, you've got like the Seahawks, the Rams,
Eagles.
Yeah, not so much the Eagles. Maybe the Eagles if they find their running game again. But NFC's top heavy. AFC is just a lot of teams that you go, yeah, they could. But so they've got a shot in the AFC. But I think first they've got to get over the Broncos and the Chargers. And that's going to be tough. And I don't know. I'm not as confident as the guys who I've listened to. I think they're going to struggle to get to around 10, 11 wins. I think they're going to be around 8, 9 wins because they've got so much in place, like the coaching, Mahomes, but also they've just got guys who took them to Super Bowls, Kelsey and Chris Jones, who are just older now. They're just not those guys. And who plays receiver? And
They could have done with Diggs, for example. Like I totally agree with you. Like I'm struggling to see a Super Bowl challenger right now because I just have no confidence in those pass catchers. And Travis Kelce, Hall of Fame tight end, but he's not that right now. And I've said it for a while now. I know that the numbers might look like, okay, he's still doing something, but he's not that guy anymore that Mahomes would go to in the big moments, because when he's done that recently, he's kind of let him down. Like he's not got the same level of skill that he had in his prime. And of course that's normal. Like he's getting up there in age now. But it is the fact that remains. Like, who do I look at on this offense that's going to help them elevate? And I'm struggling. Rashee Rice has been somewhat productive in the past, but he's not someone that you game plan your whole defensive plan around.
Yeah, I feel like we've been saying it for a couple of years now. Oh, Xavier Worthy's going to take the next step. Well, it hasn't happened yet. And is it ever going to happen? Because
exactly,
it's about time now. They kind of need it now because, yeah, that's what they drafted him for. And not just to be like a gadget guy, like to be on the field every play. And yeah.
Hey, if you want to give up some draft picks for Brandon Ayuk, like I'm making my pitch now.
Well, what's Tyreek Hill status? I mean, is he still critical.
Well, pretty interesting. Like he gave an update. He said he's got no power in his left leg.
Wow.
So I don't know why, there's no there's no reason for him to put that out there. You know, that hurts your stock really.
Yeah.
Um
So
I hope that changes because
yeah.
he's the guy that, if the Chiefs got him and there's nothing wrong with his play. Let's just get that right. It's all about the health. And there was a significant injury, obviously. I don't care what anyone says, like the quarterback play disrupted him in Miami. He is still that guy if he's healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's not coming back if that's what he's putting out. Yeah,
That's the issue.
I don't know. I could be being negative. I think but I was ahead of it last year. I did predict that the Chiefs would not. Well, my bold prediction this time last year was that the Chiefs would not make, what did I say, the AFC title game? And I could have like raised on that significantly. I could have said they missed the playoffs altogether. But at that time, them not making the AFC title game was like, whoa, are you okay? What are you talking about? Because what had been their history at that point. Right now, I'm not that excited about the Chiefs. Even
No.
with Kenneth Walker, I do love as a player. So I hope that he comes there because I love him as a player. I hope he doesn't go to Kansas City and I am bored watching him play. Like a lot of Kansas City games, I was. Maybe that's a bit harsh, but I have been bored watching Chiefs games for a couple of years. This kind of old dink and dunk, like New England kind of under McDaniel's kind of style of offense. Like I didn't find it that exciting.
Inside zone. Yeah, like short pass. Like it speaks to the lack of talent, unfortunately. I
Yeah,
think that they can't do. Yeah.
they won a game against the Texans, and I think they needed it. Do you remember they were like on the brink of being eliminated from the playoffs like every single week, and they were in the Tex against the Texans in like we need a win to stay alive kind of thing, kind of game, and yeah, the weather wasn't great, but they were just running the ball every single play, and it was almost every play was the same damn play.
Yeah.
Like, and then even their guys, like Kareem Hunt comes back and Pacheco's there. I know Pacheco's not there anymore, but they went back to the same guys from before. Like, and Juju's there and older guys and Kelsey's still there. And it's,
Yeah.
God, you guys need to evolve. Like, you need to.
Totally agree. I just remember I was watching Sunday Night Football, and then like the stat that Collinsworth like threw out there, he was like, that was the Chiefs' first run over 11 yards this year, and I was like, it's like week 10. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's dumb. Dumb stat.
All right, so to round off, let's do the win loss then. Let's see if you feel the same way after we go through this.
What, I'm gonna do it or you want to do it?
You do it. You put it out there. You think 8 to 10 wins. I'm not disagreeing with you, by the way. Week 1, we start with the Broncos at home.
Broncos. Oh, this is gonna be
And bear in mind, Mahomes is coming back from this injury, and Andy Reid said he's unlikely to play in the preseason. For what it's worth.
I say this is an L.
At home to the Colts.
Yeah, they win. Mahomes comes back.
At the Dolphins.
Win.
At the Raiders.
This is a win, yeah. Still the Raiders.
Early bye week for them. Week 5 bye week.
Not ideal.
Not ideal from experience, yeah. At home to the Chargers off that bye week.
In Kansas City, it'll be still pretty good weather at that point. I say this is an L.
Okay. At Seattle.
Oh, brutal. Kenneth Walker. Uh, the 12s. This is an L.
Back to back. At the Broncos.
I'll give them one. I say they split, so give them a win.
They generally do.
Maybe I got that Broncos wrong way around. Maybe they win week 1 and then lose this one in Mile High, but I think they'll split with the Broncos.
Yeah. Home to the Jets.
Oh, yeah. Let's move on.
At Falcons.
In a dome.
They've played them pretty hard in recent years.
Yeah, the Falcons have been involved in some really good games with the Chiefs. I mean, this is a game the Chiefs have to win. I'll say they do. I say they win it.
Okay, 6-3 now. At home to the Cardinals.
Oh, this is a win. This is not a bad schedule, you know. I mean,
Famous last words from what I'm about to tell you. The next installment of Mahomes versus Josh Allen in Buffalo.
We'll give this one to Josh. This is an L. Bills win in the regular season, don't they? And then that's the way that.
Followed by at Rams.
Yeah, you're right. Tougher schedule. This is a loss.
Followed by at Bengals.
Oh, is Joe Burrow healthy at this point in the season? It's good. I'll say this is a loss. The Bengals need it by this point.
3-game slide. They then host the Patriots.
Win.
They then host my 49ers, where Patrick Mahomes, I believe, is 5-0.
Yeah, but that was the old Chiefs.
This is an old 49ers.
Okay, I'll give them the win.
Okay. At Chargers.
Loss.
And to finish off, at home to the Raiders.
Okay. I'll say they sweep the Raiders.
Okay, so 10-7. Pretty much where you had them.
I think I'm comfortable with kind of a 10-7.
Yeah.
Their schedule is
okay in places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do. When you're reading out the games, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, like they're still good enough to beat your Miamis, and they get the Raiders twice. So, I mean, maybe divisionals are always funny, but the Dolphins, the Cardinals, the Jets, that's favorable.
Yeah, they've got a couple of games where you'll know if they're serious, like the Atlanta game on the road, like it's a swing game. Colts. Can't beat the Colts, can't beat the Falcons. Not really going to be a playoff team.
No. That is a brutal gauntlet from Thanksgiving, though. Bills, Rams, Bengals, all on the road. Then you get Patriots, interesting one, and 49ers, another interesting one.
Oh, those 3 are 3 consecutive on the road.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it is, well, I say short week. It's not really short week. So they play the Bills on Thanksgiving, and then they play the Rams the following Thursday.
Okay, so it's
kind of spread out. But yeah, three road games in a row, massive games.
Well, the short week then is the week before Thanksgiving. So they've got the Bills on Thanksgiving. So
that's at home to the Cardinals. Perfect.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't say the NFL schedule happens by accident.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I mean, I think that's where we are with the Chiefs right now. We're both not really feeling like contenders. And Tyreek Hill would help if he can be healthy, but certainly give me a little bit more. But even then, I'm still unsure. The defense has aged as well. This
Yeah.
isn't, like you said, Chris Jones in his prime. So we'll see. But you always have confidence in Spagnolo. That's the thing.
10-7 where I had them, like that's possibly enough to buy a ticket in the lottery for the Super Bowl. So they get their ticket into the playoffs, and then if I'm right, they made it to the Super Bowl the last time they were a wild card. They went into. Did they go? Am I crazy? They went into Buffalo and beat the Bills in the divisional after being a wild card.
So I think so. The last one that they got slaughtered by the Eagles,
Yeah,
they hosted the Bills in the AFC Championship. But the year before, I think it was the year before that, where they were at Bills.
they were a wild card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was the back-to-back season where they beat the Niners.
Okay.
Yeah. But interesting, like you said, I hope that their offense is more exciting this year because I can't
Yeah.
I can't watch what we've been watching in recent years.
Yeah, they're just not an enjoyable watch. Like they're not my team, so I'm not particularly interested. So I'll watch it just for content purposes. But yeah, they are a team that if there's multiple games on at the same time, you will switch off from and
Yeah.
just we'll check in from time to time on the Chiefs game.
Yeah.
But
This next team that we're going to look at is probably the opposite of that. It is the Cincinnati Bengals. Again, 6-11 last year. They were third in the AFC North. I was kind of struck by this. This is year 8 for Zach Taylor as head coach,
yeah,
and year 7 for Joe Burrow, at quarterback. That's like it shows you how quickly the time goes. They fired their defensive coordinator. I don't know who. I don't know of this guy. Al Golden was hired from Notre Dame. Don't know much about him, to be honest. So we'll see. I think I read that he used to be a tight end back in the day. We'll see. Looking at their notable additions on offense, I say no one. No notable additions. It's really on defense with Dexter Lawrence, Boy Maffei, Jonathan Allen. They have targeted that defensive line for improvement.
yes, but notable losses.
Notable losses. Give it to me.
Hendrickson.
Hendrickson, yeah.
So he was
Didn't
bang.
even think about that.
They've got those guys to replace the guy who used to sack the quarterback for them.
Yeah. That's a I can't believe I missed that. Yeah.
Can you replace him with does the sum of the parts equal the guy that you didn't want to pay?
What
But
would you rather have?
look, it's the Bengals. Like, so
Yeah.
I mean, they could win 5 games, or they could win the Super Bowl. It completely depends on what defense is it. Is the defense just better? Because it has to be better, obviously. But is it better enough for them to challenge? Because it's not going to take a lot for them to challenge. But
Can you be middle of the road? Like that's what we're asking here. Because your offense is when it's on, it is, one of the best in the league.
yeah, I
But it's like they've got to go from dead last really to middle of the road. That's a lot.
you know what you said. I think that's a really interesting and often overlooked part about the Cincinnati Bengals is Joe Burrow has brought them into the national media conversation.
Yeah.
And they are a fun team. I mean, they're a crazy team, but Zach Taylor's been there for that amount of time. And the rumors are true. I mean, the Bengals are cheap. Like, they don't pay coaches. So, Zach Taylor, I know media guys get at the Bengals, oh, they're cheap and that whole thing. They didn't have an indoor training facility for that amount of years. Yeah, that was true. But Zach Taylor, what people say is he hasn't been fired because it's going to cost them money. Well, I mean, he's had enough bad years to get fired from most teams. And the Bengals are either extremely patient, extremely foolish, or extremely cheap. So, and they're not great answers, all of them. Zach Taylor's definitely done enough to get fired on this team. But so they'll fire the defensive coordinator who actually went to the Colts and did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
So the Bengals just didn't have talent on defense. And now they've given up a first round pick for Dexter Lawrence, who, yeah, is a brand name, but didn't have a great year last year. So who are they getting?
Yeah.
And they extended him.
I think they gave him a top up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is Dexter going to be more motivated?
You hope so.
Like, I know that the guy kind of thinks a lot of himself, Dexter Lawrence. So is he going to want to play in Cincinnati?
I mean, even if he does, the trajectory that I've seen is he was on that massive tear where he was probably on track to at least be in the discussion for Defensive Player of the Year. Then he had the significant injury, and he's not been that guy since. He missed the rest of that year, and we saw last year no impact. So
yeah,
it is definitely a question mark. That's really the X factor, isn't it? It's this defense as a whole. Can you be middle of the road? Because if you are, you give them a chance because we know their strengths. I mean, in my mind, like if I had the choice of any wide receiver tandem in the NFL, I'm taking these guys. I'm taking Chase and I'm taking Higgins. And I know that is a debate. It's not like it's an obvious pick, but my personal preference, I would take them two over CeeDee Lamb and Pickens, or over, I don't know who else would be in that discussion, Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams. I love these two guys. I think they are unbelievable. And if you watch quarterback and you see Joe Flacco's reaction to some of these like crazy catches, he's like, oh my God, these guys are insane. Like I just threw the ball up and I thought, oh, here we go. Here's a pick. And he just plucked it out the sky. Like I am a big fan of these two guys.
Yeah. The Bengals pass game will always give them a shot. But they still have to, I don't know, like the Bengals, I just don't know because it's like I said, it's 5 wins. Joe Burrow gets hurt, they're done. Jamar Chase gets hurt, they're done. Defense is what it was before. They're going to really struggle. So if they're anything, what's their floor and what's their ceiling? Floor's 5 wins and their ceiling's the Super Bowl. Seriously.
Yeah.
Most other teams, you could have a general, okay, I've got an opinion on them. But if people pick the Bengals as their Super Bowl team, their Super Bowl pick, okay, I see where you're coming from. If people say the Bengals are going to be a 5-win team, okay, I understand. I see where you're coming from because it all literally depends on Joe Burrow making it through the year. And
that is a legit thing now. Like,
yeah.
And I said it in my top 10 quarterback countdown. It's almost like it's not really his fault that he has had this many injuries because you just look at the film of the protection and it does feel Andrew Luckish at times. But we are where we are. Like can he stay healthy?
Yeah. So sorry, I've not got some really intelligent insight into the Cincinnati Bengals. I know from being a Steelers fan playing them in division, they are a real problem. Like you better have good corners on the outside. But you can bully them up the middle, or at least you used to be able to bully them up the middle. And I think Chase Brown is decent, but their running game is probably below average in the NFL. Obviously, they don't have to rely on it too much. And he's used as like a weapon out of the backfield as well, Chase Brown. He's a good player, but in terms of like when you get into the playoffs and when you're playing against the best teams in the NFL, like they're not going to be terrified of Chase Brown. The way the Bengals are going to win is going to be through the air with Joe Burrow. And their offensive line is, at least on paper, good enough to protect him. It's not elite, it's okay. And their defensive line is, who is Dexter Lawrence? Is he the guy from 2 years ago, or is he a fading talent that's now overpaid? We don't know. We paid a lot for Maffey. I thought that was a lot to give Maffey based on years. But they were in a desperate situation. They got to pay some. They got to pay some guys on defense because defense has clearly been their problem. And the coaching as well, I think, is always a question mark in Cincinnati. They do lose a lot of games where you go, I don't know, because of the way the defense is. The defense doesn't stop anyone, and then the offense just needs a couple of drives where they stall, and then boom, the Bengals are behind because a lot of their games are shootouts.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Cincinnati are just, I honestly have no idea. But I think with the Bengals, I think they're quite good value to win the AFC. I've seen a price of like 10, I think it was 10 to 1 to win the AFC because they could win the AFC, but they could also win 5 games.
Yeah.
But if they make it to the playoffs, like it's that old thing with the Bengals, like, damn, I hope the Bengals don't make the playoffs. I hope it's like, yeah, they're not going to burn us, but the Bengals, damn, like. And can they please just win a game in September?
Wait, have they? They did win week 1 last year.
Yeah, I'm sure they've won a game or some game.
No, but it's ridiculous.
They're always, yeah, that trend is a real thing.
It's ridiculous. I'm pretty certain they were like 1-8 or 1-9 before last year. So, you know, that's got to come down to your coach, like improving that, I'm afraid. But I think it's fair. I mean, you can't have a strong opinion on the Bengals either way, I don't think. You can't say, oh, yeah, this defense is definitely going to be better. Like, we don't know that. You know, with Dexter Lawrence on paper, yeah. But Boy Maffei isn't Trey Hendrickson. You know, he was a nice piece in a very crowded room in Seattle. So we're going to have to see if he can really live up to that contract. But it comes back to what you said, I think, at the start. You know, the Bengals' cheapness has kind of hurt them. They wouldn't pay Hendrickson. And this isn't like a new thing. You could have paid him 2 years ago. And then you might have been in position to get Dexter Lawrence with him this year. You know,
where is he?
where is he?
Where is he?
In Baltimore.
Okay, we'll see you twice a year.
Do you think he's going to be motivated to play in those games?
There you go. So yeah, AFC North just gets more interesting.
Yeah. So moving on, the New Orleans Saints, another team that was 6-11, that actually had them last in the NFC South. Interestingly.
Yeah, although there wasn't much between them. Like,
no, there really wasn't. Year two for Kellen Moore.
Yep.
I say year two for Tyler Shuck, but this is his first year starting. So I think that this will have been his first full off season as the starter. Interestingly, they did extend Chris Olave 132 million over 4 years. I think that comes with some risk given the amount of concussions he's had, but he's a good player. Notable additions: David Edwards at guard. They loved him in Buffalo. Travis Etienne. They've drafted Jordan Tyson, the receiver, at number 8. Defensively, all I could really lean on was the linebacker Caden Ellis. What are your thoughts on this team, Paul?
I think they're a good team. I couldn't really find, and people will say Tyler Shuck, but I think he played pretty well in moments last year.
Yeah.
Definitely better than expected coming out of the draft. I was struggling to find other teams is a lot easier to find a glaring weakness. The Saints are just a pretty well-rounded team. You could have said Kamara, but they go and pick up ETN. Their O-line is decent. Their D-line is aging, but it's decent.
Yeah.
Guys, you could say the secondary is a question mark. There's a lot of young guys in the secondary, but they could be very good. And yeah, they're just the weapons. I mean, so I like Olave, and the tight end, what's his name? Is it Johnson? Johnson.
It is Johnson, yeah.
He caught a ton of balls last year and had loads of yards, surprisingly. So, yeah, the Saints. I've heard the Saints be spoken about as they're my cheeky pick to win the NFC South. And let's be honest, it's not going to take a lot to win the NFC South. At least if we go on recent history. Baker's pissed at everybody. Yeah, the Panthers are better, but they're still the Panthers, and they still got a 5'10" quarterback. So we're going to trust them. And then Atlanta have 2 lefties with a quarterback who, I don't know, I wouldn't have confidence in. So yeah, they could win the South. They could for sure win the South. And I think ETN, I know that, and ETN did, I will admit I did change my opinion last year on ETN. He had a great year last year in Jacksonville. And I think the Saints have got ahead of the Kamara slowdown. And ETN, when I've watched him, he's actually very impressive. His change of direction, his balance, not the biggest guy, is really impressive. And him then going to the Saints, playing in a dome, speed, I think he could improve even more from Jacksonville last year. So, yeah, I think that's a great pickup for the Saints. And Tyler Shuck, you have to say that, he just was really impressive towards the end of last year. He really improved. And I loved his play, those runs he was making. He was pissed. He was, yeah. I don't remember the game it was, but a run he made, and they were the road team. But
it rings a bell as well. I'm trying to think of who they were playing. I want to say Titans, but I don't think
he
it
ran it
was.
touchdown, and it was so impressive. The toughness on the run. It's wow, this guy, and they didn't have a great deal to play for at that point in the season as well. They were kind of, just about out of it in the South.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Saints, they're not going to be terrible. I don't think they could be terrible because I think the roster's good enough all around. And
they're in a great division to be in as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the only thing for me is just a bit of age on, in that front seven. That's the only slight question I have. You
Hmm.
know, and it's hard to know. I can't put a really high ceiling on this team, and it's hard to really say why. Like you said, they've got some good players. Like they're going to be in most games, but I just don't think they're. I don't think they're good enough. If that makes sense. Like,
Yeah, but I think they'll shock some teams. I think some
yeah,
of these, like, I mean, what's their schedule like? Have they got any Super Bowl kind of contending teams on their schedule? Obviously, they play the South teams, but
do you want to take me through it and see if that can change my mind? Because mean I put down for strongest unit their run game because of the fact they've got a good offensive line. They've, like you said, ETN is decent. Kamara's still going to give them something, and of
yeah.
course, Shuck his, his him adding to the run game. So,
Oh wow.
oh,
Okay, let's do let's predict their schedule. Let's predict their records. Okay.
okay,
So, okay, are you ready for this? Their schedule starts week 1 at Detroit,
tough loss.
then at Baltimore to back.
I have to say loss.
Yeah. Home for Vegas.
Yeah, I say win.
Okay. Home for the Falcons.
I can just see them splitting, so I'm going to say win for this one.
Okay. Home for the Vikings. Who's the
Ooh.
Kyler Murray, JJ McCarthy?
This could be a game. This could definitely be a game. I'm gonna lean Vikings. Loss.
At the Giants.
Now this is an interesting one. I'm gonna say win.
Okay. Home for Pittsburgh.
Home for Pittsburgh. Interesting. I think this could go either way. I'm gonna say loss.
Home for the Cleveland Browns.
Win.
Panthers at home.
Win.
Okay, we're cooking. At the Bears. November. Is that Thanksgiving? No, no.
I say loss. That one's to me could be like we get a hiding a bit.
Yeah. Or we're coming out. We're coming out on the national stage.
Yeah.
Uh, no, it's not a prime time game. At the Bengals. Interesting game.
Yeah. I'm gonna trust that the Bengals are healthy and say loss.
Home for Green Bay.
Loss.
At Carolina.
At Carolina, I'm gonna say loss.
At Tampa.
At Tampa, it could have all fallen apart by now for the Bucks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say win. The Bucks do drop these type of games.
Okay, then home for the Cardinals.
They should really beat the Cardinals. Okay, let's say win.
At the Falcons.
Loss.
And then to round out, home for Tampa Bay.
In typical fashion, loss.
So you got them 7-10. 7-10. And I think you were possibly a bit harsh with some of them.
Interesting.
then I think from talking to you about this team, I think I'm maybe slightly higher on the Saints than what you are. But their schedule, right? Their schedule is brutal in that mid part.
Mm.
Well, it's not brutal, but
It's ones where you don't feel confident.
at Lions, at Ravens to start. Then then in the mid part, at Bears, at Bengals, back to back.
And
Yeah,
then home to Packers.
yeah. Bears, Bengals, Packers, at Carolina. But their last 5 weeks, they've got the Panthers, the Bucks, the Cardinals, the Falcons, and then the Bucks. So 4 of their last 5 are division games.
Yeah, and you know that they can win. You know they could win them all effectively.
So
I think the range is going to be what between 7 and 10.
yeah, between 7 and 10 wins. But if they're at the top of that range, then they win the division.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
if bottom of that range, then I mean, with that division, they might still win it.
yeah. I mean, 8 and 9 might win them the division
Hmm.
because it's that division. That's just where they are at the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, but it's tough because that obviously they're playing the NFC North, so all 4 teams are decent in that, and they're playing the AFC North. Then you've only really got the Browns, who you would expect to be struggling. But
it's good for them that they get to play the Browns at home because others in their division will be on the road at the Browns.
yeah, they get the 2 toughest teams. They get the Bengals and the
Oh,
Ravens.
that's their prize. they get to go to Baltimore. Okay.
Yeah, but crazier things have happened. Tyler Shock and ETN and
Even the Ravens have these. They remember when they lost to the Raiders in like week 2.
yeah,
They do fall asleep at the wheel early in the season sometimes.
exactly. New coaching staff in Baltimore. You catch them week 2.
Good time to play them, really. Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
rather play the Ravens then than say week 12 when they're rolling.
yeah, and they're a dome team, so the weather's not going to be brutal in September in Baltimore.
Yeah,
The turf is still going to be good.
yeah,
Not gonna. I think it's a natural grass field in Baltimore. Could be wrong, but it looks like it's natural grass anyway.
Mm.
Don't know, because some of them are like this stupid synthetic stroke grass mix or whatever.
Bengals.
Huh?
The Bengals, for example.
It, that's a turf field.
Oh, is it turf?
The Bengals is turf. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the Bengals has got the Bengals is that cheap.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I thought you meant that there was a difference between turf and synthetic.
No, between synthetic grass and real grass.
Yeah, Bengals synthetic. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
But yeah, that's the Saints. I quite like this team. They're quite excited. They're quite interesting to watch, and I kind of root for Tyler Sharp. Like he plays football the way I kind of like it. He reminds me a little bit of Baker, a little bit.
Yeah, and he definitely elevated some of those guys. Like, the receiver Vele, he seems to have like a strong bond with him. And really and truly, were we talking about him before? Well, we weren't really talking about anyone with, unfortunately, Spencer Rattler at quarterback.
Mm.
But yeah, that's the kind of impact he made, and it's just a case of can you build on that? So interesting.
Yeah, I'm quite optimistic about the Saints.
Yeah.
Watch them fall apart now, but
So the last team we're going to look at this week, everyone's favorite, is the Dallas Cowboys. 7-9-1 last year. They were second in the NFC East with a losing record. Year 2 for Brian Schottenheimer. Again, this kind of startled me. It's year 11 for Dak Prescott. Amazing.
yeah.
And they franchise tagged George Pickens, and he is the only player to be playing on the tag this year. Notable additions on offense. I couldn't find one. I say none. But on defense, where they had the big problems last year, that's where they went heavy. They drafted Caleb Downs, who could be, we don't know, could be the best player in the draft. Kobe Durant to partner him at safety. They went and got Rashawn Gary when they failed to get, maybe a bigger name at edge, drafted Malachi Lawrence. And again, I might be biased. I like their pickup of D Winters. Just a sidebar, a lot of 49er faithful saying, he wasn't that good. You weren't saying that during the season. He played very well for us in hard times. What are your thoughts on the Cowboys, Paul?
Yeah, I think I'd be optimistic if I was a Cowboys fan because, their weakness or supposed weakness before the famous Micah Parsons trade, they famously wanted to go and get defensive tackle, stop the run, and then struggled to stop the run. But now they've got, you could look at their defensive line now and say, yeah, this worked. Well, at least on paper. They've also picked up Quinn and Williams.
Yeah.
So you've got Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary, and Quinn and Williams all on the same line. That's a different story. And then I like the guy, was he Overshawn, the linebacker? He can run.
Yeah, I love him.
He can play. And
he's coming back from a serious injury, but when he was on the field, he's a good player.
And Caleb Downs could be a superstar in this league. If it translates, but he's got the potential to be one of those line him up anywhere kind of weapons, like safety who lines up on the line of scrimmage, in coverage, just where is he? You need to locate him. Yeah. They got him at pick 11, was it? I know he fell to them. He dropped to them. Everyone was, damn, the Cowboys got Caleb Downs. He dropped that much. So, yeah, Dak, he could make a difference. And the passing game still is, it's still elite. And the running game was better than expected with Javonte Williams. He actually stayed healthy for a whole season.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I think I'd be optimistic if I was the Cowboys.
Yeah, because it is a similar situation to the Bengals in a way where you're operating with effectively two number one receivers. You just didn't have a defense last year. I would have more confidence that the Cowboys defense is going to be better than the Bengals.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah, but that's not saying I've got huge confidence in the Cowboys. That's just saying I've got no confidence in the Bengals. Yeah. I mean, of the two, I am more confident in the Cowboys being better on defense than the Bengals. But yeah, it's the Cowboys, so I don't remember a lot of what went wrong for the Cowboys last year.
I mean, it was defense. Do you remember they were having shootouts with Russell Wilson's Giants? Secondary couldn't cover anything.
Right.
And, I remember a few weeks later they went to the Bears and it was embarrassing. They were 4 touchdowns down at halftime or early in the third quarter, and you're thinking, unless the offense is operating at a high level, they can't stay in these games. Yeah. And that's where, I know Dak has played well. I just don't think he's as good as the majority think he is because he's a bit inconsistent. When he's on, he's as good as anyone, but he does have a bit of an inconsistency issue, I'd say. They go and beat the Chiefs, and now we're puffing our chests out and we're walking into Detroit saying, yeah, watch this. And then you lay an egg. he does, I think, get a bit ahead of himself sometimes. Just kind of stay even keel. Every week is different. But yeah, I mean, I think they genuinely could challenge the Eagles in this division if it all comes together. And looking at their pieces on defense, yeah, I think they've got a shout. You're not asking them to be top 10. Again, you're just
No.
asking them, can you be middle of the road, provided the offense stays at where it is, which I think it could.
Yeah, and Pickens just behaves himself for the year, which so far he has, for the most part, to be fair. I know he had that lack of effort in a couple of moments last year, but overall, for George Pickens, I mean, you have to say it's an improvement.
Will we get it again though? Because he's playing on the tag, and I can't. Well, maybe that will keep him in check because it again. Like, what did you say last year? If you're his agent, just behave yourself, and you're going to get paid. Okay, it hasn't worked out that way. Do it again. You definitely will get paid next year.
Yeah, and he's still paid fairly. I mean, he still had. Look,
he's still getting 27 million this year.
Yeah, he's had a massive pay rise. Like, it's not like poor George. Poor George. He's still underpaid. No, he's had from his rookie deal. He's had a massive rise.
Yeah,
and it's it's 1 year. So now, really, George, if you can make it through this 1 year, then you are truly going to get paid because Zay Flowers just got that amount and you're better than Zay Flowers. So
yeah,
have another year of being better than CD Lamb and see how much money you get. Yeah. They're an interesting team, the Cowboys, because like you said, they do seem to have some questionable moments where they're losing heavy in games and then come back late. And yeah, most of the time it is on the defense. At least on paper, the defense has improved. But I know Packers fans didn't care about losing Rashawn Gary because on paper he's a good player, but production, Packers fans didn't love him. We're just like, yep, see ya. We're okay. Quinn and Williams, again, I don't think he hasn't produced lately, but on paper, he's a guy. Caleb Downs, does it translate to the professional level? And D Winters, can you play? So there's things, does it all come together for Dallas?
Even if it does, the unit that I kind of look at and say I still think it's weak is at edge. Like, can you get after the quarterback? The interior, you will. Like you've Jerry's achieved his goal. Like he's got 2 proven defensive tackles, right? But I'm talking about pass rush. Like, I don't think that they've been able to fill the void of Micah Parsons so far.
Well, I mean,
it's a huge void, I know, but you'd like to think that you could have gone out and got someone. I'm just looking at Rashawn Gary, who will contribute, but you're going from Micah Parsons to this. I still think that there is a big weakness there, at least.
Well, look, I mean, I think they've done fairly well considering their salary cap and the guys that they're paying. I think they've done okay when you're paying Dak that amount and CD that amount, now you're paying Pickens on the salary on the tag.
Yeah, it's definitely hard. I mean, Jerry's talked about, this is typical Jerry keeping them in the news, potentially trading for one more guy. But at edge, he was indicating it could just be, let's keep us relevant. But it is what I think would change it for them.
It's selfishly, I hope it's TJ or Highsmith. But would they?
I mean, obviously, he's talking in that light about Max Crosby, but I don't see that. That's a lot. I know they got picks, but how that would work, I don't know. Like, I think they would have to target someone like a Highsmith.
Yeah, I think Highsmith's available.
Interesting. Interesting.
Well, I think the Steelers will listen to the phone call anyway.
Okay. It's the Cowboys. Let's go through the schedule, Paul.
Okay.
All right. So week 1 in typical fashion, Sunday Night Football at the Giants.
They win.
Wow. It is an NFC East start to the year at home to the Commanders.
Okay, they win.
2-0. They're really flying now. At home to the Ravens.
Oh. I say Lamar goes in there and beats them.
Okay. At the Texans.
At defense. Yeah, loss.
2-2. At home to the Buccaneers. I mean, that is an absolute Cowboys type of game. Let me guess. Oh no, that's the Thursday night game.
Oh, yeah. Cowboys win. Home team Thursday night.
Okay. At Packers.
Still,
This is a Sunday night football game.
yeah. No, loss.
Okay. At Philadelphia.
Loss. I said they'd be better.
They then get the Cardinals at home in a bounce back kind of game.
It gets better. Win.
At the Colts.
Who are the Colts at this point?
Yeah.
Mm, win. Win because the D line will shut down, at least slow down Taylor.
Okay. An old rivalry at home to the 49ers.
Oh, no, this is a loss.
We have owned them as of late. At home to the Titans.
Win.
At home to the Eagles.
That's Thanksgiving.
That is Thanksgiving.
That is Thanksgiving. I've made money betting against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, but I think they win this one.
Okay. Followed by, God, they've got quite a long break after that. Monday Night Football at Seattle.
No, the 12s. Be crazy.
Week 14 bye week. That's nice. Might not matter by that point, but we'll see. At the Rams follows the bye week.
That's the kind of crazy Cowboys game that they could go and pull out, you know.
Great for props.
Yeah. Yeah, this could be a shootout. I can't, though. Yeah. Bet the over and bet the Rams.
At home to the Jaguars.
They still in it at this point. What's their schedule? What's their win loss at this point?
7-7.
Well, they're still in it.
They are well in it, yeah.
In this division. Loss.
At home to the Giants.
Sorry, Giants. Yeah, they sweep the Giants.
Do they sweep the Commanders to end?
No.
So that is a loss at the Commanders. 8-9.
Yeah, there's a few in there that could go either way.
Yeah, definitely.
Tough schedule. That is a tough schedule. I know we're saying that for most teams. The NFL obviously is
NFC West, that's three very difficult games.
Yeah.
On top of two against the Eagles, you've got the Texans and the Jags. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough schedule.
Cowboys fans, let us hear it because we know you're gonna have some reaction to this.
The 8 and 9, yeah, but that could be how many could I give them more? 10?
Yeah, like they could like the Jaguars might not continue on this path. Like we've seen the Jaguars rise and we've seen them fall. We don't know. So you could potentially give them that one. Um God, there is a lot of tough games though. I mean,
They could
at Green Bay.
They could start out 3-0 before they go to Houston. I can't see them beating Houston, but they could beat Giants, Commanders, and they could beat Lamar in Dallas.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. You could see it.
But I can't see them beating Green Bay. I mean, that's Micah Parsons' game as well.
Yeah. So you're in Green Bay and then you're in Philly. Like
Yeah,
tough.
yeah. So the pressure then on coming back to beat, you have to beat the Cardinals, and then you have to probably beat.
Oh, there's that is a late gauntlet. If you take away the Titans, listen to this. Home to the 49ers, home to the Titans, home to the Eagles, at the Seahawks, at the Rams, Jaguars if they are the real deal.
Hmm.
That is a tough end.
I think the Jaguars are being like overlooked.
There you go then. So you're talking four games: Eagles, Seahawks, Rams, Jaguars.
Yeah,
Oof, that is tough.
yeah. Yeah, so when they get to Thanksgiving, then okay, this stuff's about to get real.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, yeah, we're certainly going to hear about them, but
Oh yeah, we will hear about them for sure.
right, shall we end Paul on a draft?
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll go back to old faithful all-time all-time Super Bowl winning team, quarterback, running back, two receivers, tight end, and a defensive player.
Run me through that again. So
We got quarterback, running
yeah.
back, two receivers, a tight end, and a defensive player.
Okay.
You will start off with the Vikings. Wow, what a great team to start with.
Oh, Adrian Peterson, Randy Moss. I've I had Randy before, so I'll go with AP. I'll go with Adrian Peterson this time.
Nice. Yeah, I'm going to try and mix it up. The Dolphins. Ooh.
Mm.
All right, give me Dan Marino.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and get Dan Marino a ring. The Seattle Seahawks.
Mm. Seahawks. Who do I take? Defense. Sherman, Al Thomas, Chancellor, Bobby Wagner back in the day, or Steve Largent. Yeah, just for that period, I will take Richard Sherman.
Wow, okay, interesting. My next one is the Vikings. I'm going to have to take Randy Moss. Can't say no to Randy. But I would have taken AP because I love AP. Oh, okay. The Jaguars.
The Jaguars. Wide receiver for the Jaguars. You got, who is it? Keenan McCardle? Or what's that guy they had? Jimmy Smith. They're a new franchise, but
Jimmy Smith rings a bell. Yeah.
when they first came into the league, they made it, they beat the Broncos, I remember, and they made it to the AFC title game on Mark Brunell and like Keenan
Yep.
McCardle and Jimmy Smith. Because I can't take a quarterback for the Jags.
What
Tight end.
was it? Mercedes Lewis at tight end.
Yeah, he was a guy, but he
He was a
wasn't.
guy.
He's just the guy. I'll take Jimmy Smith.
Okay. My next one is the Patriots. I would have taken him anyway. Give me Gronk. This time I get prime Gronk. I'm really sorry. I don't know why this team keeps following you. The Bears.
Okay. It's okay. It's okay. We're not going quarterback. Wide receiver on the Bears? Brandon Marshall.
Oh, love that.
Yeah, I've taken Ditka before, so I'll take Brandon Marshall.
Love it. Got the Browns.
You you know what to do.
I feel like I've taken Myles Garrett before, so give me Jim Brown.
Yeah. So I got quarterback and tight end.
Oh, you always leave your quarterback till the later
No,
rounds.
that's how it's fallen.
It's quite fitting of this weekend. The Saints.
So I won't risk it. I'll take Drew Brees right here.
Yep. Hall of Famer Drew Brees. I have wide receiver and defensive player left. And now I've got the Saints. Ooh. Wide receiver or defensive player.
I love this guy for just 1 year, but it is kind of tainted a little bit with the whole after the event bounty gate thing. But Vilma on the Saints
Filmer.
was incredible.
And we're talking like you get the player, that version of the player when he was on the team.
Cam Jordan as well. I mean, he's is he still playing?
I think they worked it out because he was like trying to leave, like you're not paying me. I got 10 sacks last year. You got to pay me. I think they figured it out. Cam Jordan, the risk I take. I want to take this guy, but you know what? I'm going to do it. Like every team needs a veteran on their roster. Give me Emmanuel Sanders as the second receiver.
Over Michael Thomas.
Yeah, over Michael Thomas. I want Emmanuel Sanders.
You do love him.
So last pick, yours is tight end, the Dallas Cowboys.
I could take Ditka again. He played for the Cowboys. He's not. He was famous for the Cowboys. When I was growing up, Jay Novacek was a good player on those Cowboys Super Bowl teams, but it's Jason Witten.
Okay. I think my gamble has paid off because my last pick is the Jaguars. I wouldn't have loved the receiver choices. So defensive player, I'm going to go with my guy, Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This is probably like one of the most even ones we've done, I think. Marino, Breeze,
You
Jim
were
Brown,
surprised.
AP.
You were surprised when I went Sherman on the Seahawks. Where do you think I should have gone?
Well, I would have just for that iconic time, I probably would have gone Chancellor,
Yeah,
but
I,
all over safety. So
I know you and Rob were all over Chancellor, and don't get me wrong, he was great, but Sherman, I think, affected the game more because Sherman was a real kind of shutdown corner.
there was a time, in fairness, that I remember an opening game of the season where Rodgers refused to throw on that side of the ball
Mm.
the whole game, and he got criticised for it. But Sherman did have that patch where he was shut down.
And I know he would over the top, especially like the Crabtree stuff. Though I kind of love that. I love that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I love that. Like, when you watch him on films, he says that he was inspired growing up by Muhammad Ali and like the trash talking and that whole "I'm the best in the game," all that stuff. Like,
But the thing with Sherman, it stands true. He says he only bites back when people bite at him. He's not coming for you. Crabtree was talking before the game,
yeah,
so that's why he was so amped up. Like he's made
yeah,
to me, like I always think of that play and just think like that's one of the greatest plays you could make in a conference championship. I mean, you know, a lot of players would have just been happy to defend the pass, but he had the presence of mind to tip it, knowing
yeah.
where his teammate was to end the game.
Fifth round draft pick as well.
Wow. Yeah.
He played wide receiver at Stanford. So when he came in as a corner, he was like, I know what they're running. Like, I know what this is supposed to look like. And then, so when I heard him speak about it, he was like, so I had a different mindset. Like, I could attack it instead
Yeah.
of like, I'm reacting to it. No, I know what it's supposed to be. So then I can anticipate and attack it. And you can see that in the way he played. He attacked the ball when it was thrown at him.
Fusion mindset, because yeah, he's seen both sides of it.
Yeah, but a fifth round pick, like the career he had was just kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I know it kind of fell off when he was on the four. So his career went full circle, like he was on the 49ers at the end.
Played
But
in a Super Bowl.
yeah, he had a great career
Yeah.
and he's actually now when I see him in the media, he's actually kind of toned it down like massively. I expected him at least to be really loud in the media.
He's very jovial. Yeah.
Yeah,
And he loves his Niners. Like that's what surprised me the most. Like I feel like there was a phase like he's had to pull it back a bit because probably got some blowback from Seattle fans. But there was a time where I was like, are you like a 49ers all-timer or something? Because you're only talking about the Niners.
well, you went to Stanford, and
Yeah,
you're the closest NFL team to Stanford.
true. Yeah.
What I understand, yeah, Stanford, California is. I'm sure
It's
it's the
in the area.
49ers because they're up in like,
Santa Clara.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was, yeah, with the Seahawks. I mean, because it had to be that generation of players. You could make a case for Bobby Wagner just because he's around forever.
I did love that shout. When you raised him, I thought actually that's a great point. Like we always talk about Legion of Boom, but Wagner was unreal in those days.
Yeah, yeah. The fact that I mean, he's retired now, right? That was his last year.
I don't know. I think he is like an unsigned free agent.
Right.
I wanna see now.
The last member of the Legion of Boom.
I'm sure that we would have heard a lot more if he had retired.
Yeah.
I don't think he's retired, but I also don't think he's on a team. He intends to play his 15th season, but he is a free agent. So does he make his way back to Washington? Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. No, someone's going to get hurt.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that is it for this week. As always, a lot of fun, like a lot of news this week. Um, we'll see what happens in this next week as the momentum is growing to the season. Next week we'll start to get uh, some preseason games. I know it's not fully exciting, but it's a first. I like it as a first look at some of these rookies just to understand their play styles, their attributes. Just
Yeah.
I think you can pick that up, and yeah, we will continue our journey looking at these teams. I think we are, yeah, we're going to get close to halfway now. So yeah, enjoy the week, and we'll see you again this time next week.
Right. See ya.